Welcome to Maranatha Minute with Bishop Richard Frank. Maranatha Minute is a production of Maranatha Ministries, UPC. For the next 5 to 7 minutes, Bishop Frank will talk about various topics that will help and encourage you in your walk with God. Your comments are both encouraged and appreciated. Be sure to like us on Facebook, and follow us on YouTube, and be sure to click the bell so you'll always know when we go live. Now relax, and be blessed by this week's version of Maranatha Minute.
And welcome everyone joining me tonight on this beautiful Wednesday on January 31st. Is it really? Let me check here. It is indeed the last day of January already of 24. I can't believe that we are through 1 month of this year already. Time is just flying by. So with that said, let's get right into it tonight, shall we? Let's talk about what is on my heart and what I want to just bring to you quickly tonight for this Maranatha Minute on this last day of January. I want to talk about Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13 real quick. That says something, and I'm sure we're very familiar with it. As you know, the book of Ecclesiastes is all about things that matter, things that don't, things that are vanity, vexation of spirit, all the things of this world that we strive after, how it amounts to nothing in the end. At any rate, we get to the end of the book here on chapter 12 and verse number 13, where the Bible tells us here, "Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter." Everything boils down to this statement, and truly it does. In life itself, everything ultimately boils down to this statement. And if this statement can be applied to every single aspect of our living, we will understand a great deal about what we're doing, why we're doing it, why we should or shouldn't do it. And it says this: "Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments." This is the whole duty of man. Fear God and keep his commandments. Fear God, we often say, does not mean to be afraid of him, but in a little bit of way it does. It does, to be afraid of him. I fear God out of great respect, but the reason I have great respect for him is because he has the power of heaven and hell in his hands. I fear him for that. I love him for Calvary. And that's important. It's important that I don't just respect or fear him, but that I love him. But fear God and keep his commandments. This is the whole duty of man. Sounds like simple obedience. Sounds like, obey God and everything will be well. But our motivation, this is really telling us about our motivation. The conclusion of the whole matter is fear God, keep his commandments. What is the motivation of fearing God and keeping his commandments? Because motivation has everything to do with whether or not we are going to be successful at fearing God and keeping his commandments. I'm going to wrap it up quickly because I don't want to take a lot of time tonight. I do want to keep these Maranatha minutes short for your ability to log in, listen, and move on. Motivation has everything to do with everything we do. If I live for God because I am motivated by fear of hell is going to wane. It's going to have upsides, downsides. There'll be moments when it really troubles me. There'll be moments when it doesn't. Trying to live for God because I need something is going to pass because I'm not always going to need something. I have seen, and I've been talking about this a lot lately, and I think it's a major stumbling block to people. And that is that I've seen people come to church because they need God to do something for them. They need a miracle. They need the supernatural. They need their marriage touched. They need a job. They need whatever. And either they get it or they don't get it. And if they get it, I've seen it work both ways. I've seen it go both ways. I've seen people get the thing they came to God for and then stop serving God. I've also seen people not get what they came to God for and stop coming to church. Never really start truly serving God. They just come to God to get what they can. And so their motivation behind what they're doing is wrong. Number one, whether they need something or need something taken away or need something added. Fear God and keep his commandments. This is the whole duty of man. Why do we keep his commandments and why do we fear God? Because motive has everything to do with our motion. We need to fear God. And when I say fear God, I don't mean to be afraid of him. I mean to respect him, trust him, honor his word, trust his word, believe his word. Fear God and keep his commandments. This is the whole duty of man. Motivation. The reason I fear God and I keep his commandments is because of the depth of love that I have for him. See, I understand that I was lost, and you need to understand that you were lost, or that you may be lost on your way to eternity, separated from God. Now, we always promote and push and preach hellfire and brimstone, which is fine because hell does have fire in it. The Bible clearly states hell is a place of fire and torment. The biggest torment is the separation from God. We don't realize, even in this sin-cursed world we live in, God is in it. There is peace to be found. There is the hope of prayer. There is always a hope that things will turn around. And the reason we have hope that things can turn around is because we believe there is a God. But if God is taken out of the equation, what hope is? There is no hope. One of the biggest, most terrible things of hell is not going to be torment of flames or fire. It's going to be the hopelessness that it's not going to get better. It's not going to change. This is the way it is for eternity. And so to fear God and keep his commandments, there has to be a proper motivation. And the proper motivation has to be because you love him, because love is the most powerful emotion and powerful force in this life. Love is the most powerful force. Love will motivate people to do things that no other emotion can get them to do. Not fear, not money, not greed. Nothing can get people to be motivated the way love can. Love causes a mother to throw herself in front of a moving vehicle to push a child out of the way. Love causes us to make great sacrifices for people because we love them. There is no greater force in this life than the motivation of love. And that's why Jesus said, when they asked him, what are the greatest commandments? He said, love the Lord with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. That's it. On these two hang all of the other, everything else hangs off. Everything is hanging off of these two commandments. If you love God with all your heart, your soul, and your might, and you love your neighbor as yourself, everything else falls into place. Everything else is motivated by the right reason. So it's so important that we understand that the whole matter is that we fear God and keep his commandments. And the only way to truly fear God and truly keep his commandments is to be motivated by love. I love him because he first loved me. My friend, if you don't feel that, if you can't touch that in your heart, ask him to help you. Ask him to give you a revelation of what he did for you. Ask him to show you the great sacrifice that he truly made on Calvary. Let Calvary become a reality to you. Let Calvary become realistic. Let the image of it settle in your mind so that you can look at him and say, I love him because he first loved me. And it will transform your life. Motivation, living for God because you love him, not because you love what he'll do for you. The right motivation matters. Fear God, keep his commandments. This is your whole duty. God bless you all. Thank you for joining me again on this night. Ask God to help you love him. And the way you love him is by understanding what he really did for you. Lord, help me to understand what it truly is that you performed and did and sacrificed on Calvary for me. Help me to truly understand that. God bless every one of you. I hope I'll see you in church on Sunday. If you're out of the area and can't make it to church, I hope you'll join us online. But more important than joining us online, I hope you'll find a local congregation that's preaching this glorious truth and get in it live for God, join hands with those around you, and let's have revival in these last days and see a great move of God. God bless you all. Thank you for joining me this evening. It's been my pleasure being here with you. I love every one of you. Good night.